We're live.
Welcome to Screencast, everyone. Kind of funny. It's movie, streaming, TV, entertainment podcast that we do each and every week here on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. If you're watching live, if you're watching this on YouTube, we're on youtube.com/kindoffunny. Please subscribe, hit that bell notification, and let us know if you have any comments in the comments below. And Kevin will jump on there. And if he agrees with you, he will say you're awesome. And if he doesn't, he will delete your comment. Throw it out of the internet forever. I'm your host today, Nick Scarpino, joined by the movie bros herself, Joey Noel.
Hello. How's everybody?
Kevin, the big dog Coelho. And for the first time ever on Screencast, ladies and gentlemen, a little known boy who has been a Superman fan all his life. We're giving him his first comeuppance. I think this is part, Joey, if I'm not mistaken, part of our up-and-comers program.
Just really out loud community member. That's not the word I was looking for.
Am I saying this right? Greg St. Ange Millar? Is that?
You nailed it, Mr. Scarpino. Pleased to be here.
Well, happy to have you, Greg. We want to hear your thoughts, obviously, on the Snyder Cut, which is the biggest news story coming up. But before we get to that, we want to thank our Patreon producers who helped make this show possible. Mohammed, Cameron, Vote for Regan, Steve, Rogers Powers, Lee, El Pollo Loco Bolero, Julian, the gluten-free gamer, Kieran O'Donnell, and Drew Garnier Fructis. And I'm not sure if Al Tribesman is supposed to be on here or not, so I'm just going to throw his ass up there as well. Because, we've nicknamed him the Predator, and that's apparently something that's going to stick with you forever. When you move houses, you got to knock on people's door and tell them that you are in fact.
I don't know if that's the right kind of Predator. I don't know if he needs to do that as the Predator.
There you go. A couple housekeeping before we get to the big news of the day. Go over to kindoffunny.com/store and check out our new stuff. We got the PS I Love You sweatshirt and the Super Porty shirt that we're loving very, very much.
Will the t-shirt maybe be restocked on Monday?
We don't know. We hope so. It's an awesome t-shirt, and I'd like one. So hopefully they restock it and send me one, because that would be great. And of course,
I think I have one for you.
Do you have one for me?
I think so. I'll check my stack.
Because I want to wear the crew neck shirt, but it's a little too hot outside. Yeah, the outside needs to make up its G-darn mind, if you know what I mean, Joe. Because it's getting hot, getting cold. Don't like any of that. Of course, this show is brought to you by our sponsors, Honey and ExpressVPN, but we'll tell you a little bit about them later. Gentlemen, it's happened finally. And I, for one, have been an outspoken supporter of this cut since day one.
I'm so glad all you fuck faces get to eat crow. Just eat it. Just fucking eat it. You know what I mean?
Would
it be better? It wasn't even that many reshoots. Blah blah blah. Fuck you. 20 million fucking dollars. 4 hours of content and/or 6 episodes.
Greg, I really hope you enjoy this time that we're gonna have right now. This year and a half, 2 years, however long it lasts, before we know whether it's terrible or amazing.
Here's the thing, is what I keep going back to, because people want to try to bring me down, right? Because again, you are all succubuses. They can't just let anybody be happy about anything.
I've been a supporter of this since day one, Greg.
There's no possible way this movie can be worse than Justice League. It's impossible. Justice League is awful. It's not. Yes, it can be longer. It's not going to be as bad.
The thing about Justice League is that as bad of a film as it is, at least it has a coherent plot that stands on its own 2 feet.
Right,
so there is a definitive beginning, middle, and end. And I think the best part about that movie is that it actually does end. But what I'm worried about with the Snyder Cut is that they're just going to keep making more episodes of it. And it's never going to stop. The fact that he's like, we might release it in chapters. I'm like, what? No, don't do that. How about this? How about instead of a 4-hour movie, you cut a 2-hour movie that's better than the other 2-hour movie, so that we can then say, hey, you are in fact a competent director. No?
I mean, the last movie wasn't his movie, so there's nothing for him to cut. You know what I mean? Like, he's got to make the movie, Nick. He's got to make and finish his vision of the movie. You claim to be all about artist, Nick, but you're not, clearly.
I mean, no, I'm an artist myself. In fact, I would do this in black and white and stay silent for the whole time if that's what people wanted. A couple interesting facts about this that I want to talk to you guys about. Obviously, this is part of the big pitch for HBO Max, which is the Warner Digital streaming service, launching May 27th, which is just a few days away from now. Of course, this movie is not expected to hit that platform until 2021. It's unclear when that's going to be, but we assume that's probably going to be, I imagine, as early as humanly possible to try to get that out, because ultimately, when you pull back the very thin veil on this one, this is a giant money grab by Warner Brothers to try and get people to sign up for this platform which, to be fair, it's HBO. So if you want HBO and you get a bunch of extra stuff like Rooster Teeth and stuff for this platform, it's great. But the question I have is like, was this the right choice for Warner Brothers to do?
I feel like this is brilliant.
It's a smart choice.
There's a good amount of people that want it. The only thing is it close enough? Because I feel like they should have had this prepped for the release sooner. Now, them releasing this platform now in the middle of this pandemic, I think that's going to boost things. But I think that this is a smart move. Like, it's crazy that they're going to spend $20 to $30 million on this, but at the same time, all right, cool. Hopefully it'll look good.
Greg.
Yeah.
What do you when I say I know it's a smart move.
Yeah.
But honestly, dialing it back, I know you're a huge fan. Yeah. Is this the right move for them to do as far as giving in to the outpour of people who have wanted this since day one?
Yes, it is. And I think that's what's so hard to separate and this is, I was going to say the wheat from the chaff, right? But this is the argument with the internet in general, right? Is that I know so many people did, yesterday when this all happens, obviously Twitter hates Zack Snyder and hates the DCEU. So they were like, oh, this fucking sucks. This is going to be worse. It's just going to be longer, yada, yada. But there was this other undercurrent of like, this is yet another example of studios giving in to assholes, right? Of asshole fans that they were like, I saw somebody be like, go look at Joss Whedon's mentions right now, right? Like people are dancing on his grave kind of thing, yada, yada, yada. The problem with that is that not everyone's an asshole. And just like we see in our own community, right? That like when somebody wants to be negative in comments, that always shines brighter and louder than the people who are doing good things. The core people who started the hashtag release the Snyder Cut thing and the people who adopted it, myself included, right? We're never doing it to go after Joss Whedon, to have people, I don't know, fucking harass the WB execs. I don't even know who they are. I wouldn't have done it, so I don't know. It wasn't that thing. It was people getting behind this movement and putting up billboards and raising money that went to a suicide prevention charity and doing all the stuff that, for the most part, was very much centered around like, listen. And I think, Nick, I'd like to think you would agree at this point. Listen, this is going to come out one way or another. Why make us wait? Yesterday, there was a quote from Zack Snyder in The Hollywood Reporter, who's like, man, yeah, like I thought this would eventually happen in like 20 years. Somebody would want to talk to me for a documentary or something, right? And it immediately made me think of John Schnepp's, The Death of Superman Lives, right? Yeah. The rundown of Superman, the Tim Burton Superman movie. It made me, as a fan, think about the Richard Donner cut of Superman and Superman 2. Like, this was going to happen, and I think it is the right and smart move to do it.
But was it going to happen? Because this is an unprecedented thing to spend $20 to $30 million to essentially remake a film. Whereas you bring up the Donner cut, they didn't spend nearly that much, from what I recollect, to actually go back and do that. They just literally went back and found all his old footage that the other director threw out and put some more scenes in for him.
Exactly. And so, let me be very clear, I guess, right? Yes, this is unprecedented. And, yesterday when it was all happening and I was reading about it, like I knew it was going to happen based on I didn't know, but the scuttlebutt this week early had been like, the word is he screened some stuff and like it's going to get announced this week. And people were already kind of doing a victory lap, but waiting for the official word. When the official word came during Kind of Funny Games Daily yesterday, it was like, oh, cool, they're doing it. And then reading about it was when it was like, wait, what the fuck? They're going to do $20 million. You know what I mean? They're going to do 4 hours. Like I was 100% expecting, hey, so they're going to take what I already have and put it out, and we're going to put in animatics. We're going to put in, unfinished things. We're going to do all this different stuff to give you a cobbled together Frankenstein movie here that like the seams are very much showing in most of the shots. So yeah, that's above and beyond. I always thought with this that eventually, worst case scenario, right? Like Zack Snyder is going to do a podcast series where he lays all this out, or get interviewed by somebody, and lay it all out. My best case scenario, because this is so far above and beyond, was that it would either get released in a completely unfinished form. So that's not even best case. Best case, I thought, would have been that Zack Snyder would have buried the hatchet with WB and DC Comics, and they would have paired him with an artist and been like, cool, listen, if we have a very successful comic book business, why don't we just draw the rest of your fucking thing and do it the way you would have wanted and lay it out that way? I thought that would have been a really cool thing. And so for them to do this is, as you said, unprecedented and crazy. And suddenly like the sky is the limit, right? Of like, wait, are they going to get so is this like Henry Cavill getting back in the suit? Like, because there's been all this talk of like he wants to, but do they want him, and this, that, and the other. Like, where does that shake out? You know what I mean?
For sure, they're bringing the article has been talking about how they might bring back people to do like other VO lines.
Yeah, I heard VO
lines. But I mean, honestly, and I wrote this question down for you in jest, but this is a perfect example of something that they absolutely, if they can get him back in the costume and let's fix it or cut it out. Can they reshoot the mustache scenes? Can they reshoot the scenes? And I'm not even joking. Like, he's not going to be as buff as he was before, but can we reshoot those as close-ups and actually have him have
but here's
those
my thing, Nick, and this, if we can just put it all aside for a second, and if I can just get your belief, like the Justice League we watched is not the Justice League Zack Snyder was making or will make. Like, but the mustache scenes you're talking about are not what Zack Snyder would want in this movie. That's going to be thrown away. That's not going to be there.
But there's a moment where he has to fight Steppenwolf, right? Like Superman at some point has to fight Steppenwolf, and those are some of the scenes where the mustaches kind of popped out. So they have to either reshoot those or re-choreograph them or reanimate them, right?
But again, those were reshoots, Nick. Like, that wasn't what Zack Snyder shot already and had in the can for that.
But here's the thing: he left the project so early. $30 million means they have to reshoot a tenth of this movie.
Did he
the budget was $300 million.
Did he leave early? I thought he left in like 3/4 of the project was done.
Either way, I mean, think about that though.
Well,
like,
I mean, I think
you're talking about a movie that still has 20 to 30 minutes more to shoot of it.
Yeah,
and this has always been my thing with the Snyder cut. When you talk about the Richard Donner cut, that means that at some point there was a version of this film, or like you talk about the Ridley Scott cut for Blade Runner. That means there was a 2-hour cut. Or the James Cameron cut for Aliens, right? These cuts existed before, and the studio said, "Hey, specifically for Blade Runner or for like Aliens, the studio was like, these are too long. You've got too much stuff going in here. Audiences don't want to sit through 2 hours and 30 minutes of aliens slaughtering people on a planet. Spoilers: I'd sit through 3 fucking hours of that movie. So when they release those cuts, you're like, oh, that's cool. We're actually getting some of the original backstory for Ripley. We're seeing some of these other cool scenes. We're getting a sense of how long these colonial Marines were actually stuck in this facility before they were all slaughtered and massacred, right? But that's not going back and taking a tenth of the original budget and shooting more scenes that were never filmed to begin with, and then going back in and doing CG for that. Like, to me, a recut is, we go back, we find that old footage. Maybe we got to spruce it up a little bit here with the different color pass and potentially like do a couple of the effects so they're passable. But this is $30 million they might be spending on this, which is going to be like, you can't even call it Justice League at that point. You're going to have to call it something different, right? You can't call it the Snyder Cut. We're going to have to call it like the League of Justice or something. I don't know. I
mean, we call it Justice League, the Zack Snyder Cut.
I'm teasing around, but on that one. But like, I just think like it's interesting for me, because for me, it's always been, you put it out in the theater and that's the thing, right? And now being able to go back and having these studios with these streaming platforms retcon these movies and potentially add $20 to $30 million back into them to make more money off of them, I'm conflicted on that. Because I just don't know if that's a good precedent to set, especially when you're capitulating to people who, to Greg's point, there's a lot of super positive people that are like, we want this, we're not all bad. Greg's not all bad, obviously. You're a good guy, and I know you want this because you want to see what could have been this movie. The original vision, to maybe it could have been a little bit better. But there's also a lot of people out there that are toxic, and they're getting their way as well. So it's a conflicting thing.
But that's the thing, is like, it's just the shitty nature of the internet. We saw the same thing with Spider-Man PlayStation 4, where people wanted the Raimi suit. And when Insomniac announced what was to be the last DLC or suits that we knew were coming, and it wasn't the Raimi suit, people flipped the fuck out and acted like children and acted like assholes. And then 3 days later, Insomniac's like, here's the Raimi suit. We were trying to surprise you. You know what I mean? Right. And it was this thing that they couldn't say. I shouldn't speak for them. As a company, I believe they couldn't say like, you guys may act like assholes. We clearly already made this. Like, it's done. We're releasing it. Like, it wasn't like we did this in 2 days. It was the fact that it seems like you're rewarding the assholes, but in fact, the assholes aren't what made it. I think the majority of people know that. And it is the sad state of existing on the internet that everybody who has any opinion or does anything on the internet gets fucking trashed for it and gets dragged through the mud at some point for it. But you have to look beyond that to the actual, silent majority that is enjoying something and does want it to be what it is.
Yeah, I guess part of the negative reactions I'm having to this is that I don't think Warner Brothers is looking at those positive people and going, we're rewarding you. What I think they're doing is going, there's money out there. Let's grab it as hard as possible. And I don't, again, as a person who runs a company, like I can't fault people for wanting to make a profit and giving audiences what they want, because that's what we do here on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames every day. Make sure
Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime, donate to us.
Get it. So I can't, but to me, this smacks of some genius vice president who wants to be the head of Warner Brothers one day that goes, what if we released this? And it would totally bump our Q1 quarterly numbers for 2021. And then someone else is like, yeah, but that sets a bad precedent of now people will be enraged and even more incensed when the next Marvel, or it probably won't be Marvel because they make good movies, but the next Star Wars movies comes out and we go, we don't want Rose to be in this movie at all. Are they going to go back and capitulate to that and take her out of The Last Jedi when it's released?
Nick, I think that this is different, like in the sense that like people have a basis to jump off of where, you know, they're sitting there and like there was a different version. They switched the directors at the, like, you know, when the movie was only 70% done. Sure. Like there is a basis of like where people can be like, oh, the path deviated here versus, you know,
totally retconning something.
Exactly. Also, it helps that like there isn't much after this in the DC EU, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I mean that's another question. Like if he has threads that go to other places, like how does that work with?
But with
like, I mean, the theatrical release has to be the canon movie, right? There's no possible way they could be like, this is going to be canon from here forward, and then it doesn't.
Well, no, so that's what gets so fucking fascinating about it is that I think that we're back to us being in an unprecedented time, right? Of like, hold on one second, I'm trying to clarify one thing for you.
And by the way, I agree with you, Kevin. I'm playing mostly devil's advocate. Like I totally understand that he had a different vision for it, and I think it's absolutely fascinating that they're giving him $30 million to finish that.
Yeah,
but I would love to see like how much the movie was actually done beforehand.
Yeah.
Because
here's the thing, just to bring it up again, Nick, because I just think there's a fundamental misunderstanding. Like this is Wikipedia. Snyder stepped down in May 2017 during post-production. Like again, there would have been reshoots, but he shot what he wanted to shoot with these people to make his movie. And then Joss came in and did a whole bunch of stuff again at the behest of Warner Brothers, who again, this is my whole argument on In Review, and I won't make it a 4-hour long episode like I do there all the time, right? Is like, the problem here is that you had a bunch of fucking mealy mouth executives at Warner Brothers who I think made a bad decision in the start of this and said, man, we need to do the DCEU. We don't really have a vision and we can't do Marvel. Zack Snyder, you made Watchmen awesome. Do Man of Steel. Oh, that was great. Do you have a vision for the whole thing? Do Batman. Do this. And then he starts pitching all this stuff and how he wants to build the dark side and how he wants to have this 2-part Justice League and how he wants Suicide Squad to tie into that, right? Another fucking trash movie. And stick with me. Trash movie, the final product, because when we get to Suicide Squad, Warner Brothers is now starting to panic because they're reading the room and being like, man, people want Superman to be way more nice than this. This is why is Batman killing people? We didn't really buy into your vision. We were happy you had a vision, and now we see that the general audience's vision doesn't line up with your vision. So let's totally rip the fucking balls off Suicide Squad, make it this fucking weird ass Enchantress just doing this shit, not an agent of Darkseid, not a thing at all, doesn't build into your whole universe. And they're like, wait, that fucking sucks. Then they get to Justice League, and it is this thing that they do the whole thing the way he apparently wanted, or most of the way he wanted. The untimely death of his daughter forces him off the project in post-production. They bring in Whedon, and they're like, listen, you fucking crushed it with Avengers. Please make this more like that. At which point they have a full breakup with Zack Snyder, at which point they put out Justice League, which is this hodgepodge Frankenstein of a happy movie and then a weird movie and then a shitty villain and then like a nothing and then whatever. And they end it. Literally, it does so poorly. They're like, all right, cool. We're done with the DCEU connecting. That's not a thing anymore. Now they can all just be standalones. They can be Shazam. They can be the new Suicide Squad. They can be Wonder Woman. They're still technically in the universe, but we don't have to tie them together, right? And they blow all that up, and Ben Affleck leaves Batman. Henry Cavill is in this weird limbo of, man, people hate you as Superman. And everybody's like, well, no, we like him as Superman. We just don't like what you gave him to work with. But then some people do like what in this blah, 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 blah. So getting here, long story short, to get here now and have this made I'm obviously fascinated. I think, and Nick, you know better than me, this is fucking crazy that this is happening the way it's happening.
Nice. Yeah. On
top of that being fucking ludicrous, insane that we're seeing this, I can't wait to see what happens next. Because again, like, I don't know. And again, like, I understand that I'm the Release the Snyder Cut guy and I fucking lived it up yesterday. But remember, I'm not that big of a fan of the DCEU. Like, it's not what I would have done. It's not what I wanted. I think where they were going was interesting. I would have much rather seen them go to completion with this, see Steppenwolf and Darkseid, see that lead to the rise of Superman and Justice League 2, whatever it's going to be. And like even that, when you see the family tree thing they've put out of like what looks to be Zack's vision, it looks like that at the end of Justice League 2, the DCEU would have been done, because we're not going to have a movie universe without these people and Superman's kid and all this shit. I digress though. What gets interesting here is that when they put out the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League and that ends, does that end the way they were originally going to end it, which made it seem like Darkseid was going to come and we were going to have to fucking throw down, and then part 2 is going to be about like Apocalypse, war with Apocalypse? Or is it going to be that they change the ending to be definitive and leave it there? And then what happens? Because even then, I think it just opens up the world, right? Like they made a big deal, Nick, I don't know how much you've seen or paid attention, that the new Justice League dark animated film that just came out, right, is the end of that animated universe they've been playing with. That's like their last story in that one. They're going to still make it.
I'm waiting to rent it because it's only available for purchase right now.
And so like how dope would it be? And again, I just want to see them play around with this, but they get to the end point of Justice League and they're like, cool. Yeah, we're not. I mean, I don't know what kind of fucking numbers they would need on HBO Max to justify going back to theaters with whatever they want to do and continue that way. Maybe that happens. But even if it doesn't, it's like, cool, we've seen it this far, and now Zack Snyder's going to work with whoever and make an animated film. Now Zack Snyder is going to do the comic book thing to see where his whole story was going to go. The fact that like in a world where, you know, there can be this messy of a breakup, and then just 2-3 years later they can come together and make this work. Granted, for I'm sure a dump truck full of money, and Zack Snyder getting to just you just sit there and be like, I'm the king of the goddamn world. Like again, if
king of the world until 2021, we'll see what happens.
Well, no, because I mean, spoiler alert, people are still gonna hate the movie. Like it's and
so that leads me to my final point with you is like that picture that you just painted, I'm sure is very, very accurate, but I'm going to paint you an alternate picture, right? Is that the executive producers and the head of the studio sat down and watched his cut originally and were like, this is fucking horrible. Oh my God, what do? We have to hire someone in who can come in and fix this, because this is just a 4-hour hodgepodge mess of zero story, 20 different threads that go around, and Superman just massively fucking being a serial killer or whatever. What do we do with this? How do we fix this? Oh, well, let's call the guy that brought everything else together, which is Joss Whedon. Joss comes in and does his best cleaning up, Snyder's mess. And then everyone, of course, by the way, that was a position that I never would have put myself in. I'd be like, this is a fucking bad idea. I'm only going to take shit from this. It's like directing a Star Wars film now. It's a lose-lose situation. There's just no way. Right? So that's always been the question on my mind, but it's such a weird reality that we live in right now that we finally get to answer that. And it reminds me of the old adage of like, better for people to think you're an idiot than for you to open your mouth and prove them right. Because I think everyone's going to fucking eat shit when this movie comes out, and it is just a mess. But I will be I will happily admit that I'm wrong if this ends up being a really cool sort of one-off continuation of his vision. I just don't think his vision was that strong to begin with. And when you start off with a interestingly weird, not very good vision that can only last a couple movies, I just don't think it goes that far. I don't think it goes into a 4-hour cut. But I'll watch all 17 chapters of whatever Snyder wants to do, or at least I'll get through as many of them as I can before I got to just pop on Predator Hunting Grounds.
Yeah, that's right.
Last thing here.
Real quick. I do want to say I am really excited for this, and I'm very hopeful that they're going to be making more content out of it. I hope that at some point in the next 2 years we get a movie that's called the Snyder Cut that like goes and like tells the story of like what was the original movie, how much was cut, what changes they made to now this continuation. And also it would be really interesting if this is phenomenally successful and then gets a release in theaters afterwards, leading to maybe a sequel at some point. Like, I know that's all unlikely, but I'm just saying the possibility of something like this happening where we already had a movie, this different version of the movie potentially comes out and makes waves, like that's really exciting.
Anything's possible at this point.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, literally anything's possible. If they're going to put $30 million into this, they could go back and fucking recut Dick Donner's cut with brand new effects and be like, here we are. Here's Justice League Part 2. People are like, fucking A, why not?
Whatever, let's do it.
One of the quick little follow-up here, Greg, and then we'll let you go.
Sure.
Obviously, one of the fun stories that came out of this was Joe Manganiello was like, hey, cool, maybe they'll finally have my original post-credit sequence and he put out a couple emojis that said that potentially maybe he's fighting Batman in that credit sequence. So it could be pretty cool. We'll see. We will see.
What a fucking hurry they were in to make that universe. They hadn't even fucking released Justice League, and they put out an image of Deathstroke, and they're like, "This is going to be the villain in the Batman movie that Ben Affleck's writing." You're like, "What the fuck is going on?"
It is interesting, and I don't know. I mean, I don't think this is going to have any ramifications for the Batman. I feel like Matt Reeves. I feel like the universe is kind of set where it's at, and he's kind of going forward with this new project. But it'll be interesting to see if they make him shoehorn into that.
What I think is really interesting, and again, we're talking about like, time will tell where this all goes and kind of thing, is like, what is the ramification of this on the Flash movie that I've always said is not going to fucking happen? But every time there's I see in Screencast, there's topics of like, oh no, this has happened, this is moving forward, whatever. It's going to be Flashpoint, which if you're not a comic book person, is where you could easily reset the timeline and have a universe again and not have it be the same people and not have it be the same events and learn from that. But is that now, if there's even an inkling at WB, like maybe this thing will be good enough that we want to keep the universe as, like, you know what I mean? Like, what does that do with anything? Because again, nobody fucking knows over there. Just hire me and Gary Whittle will come in to fix it.
That would be amazing. Speaking of which,
Kevin Feige.
When is your comic book available, by the way? Is it available now?
No, it's June 9th, I believe, that Tuesday.
Everyone go buy a copy of it right now, as soon as you can, and have it delivered to your house. June 9th. There you go. Greg, you can stick around if you want.
No, fuck you.
Wow. Okay. That was it. We got lots of cool.
Right. And mute the thing.
Yeah. We'll mute the
Kevin,
thing.
What do you want me to do, Kevin?
Take your pants off and we'll walk around in the background.
I mean, you nailed it. You kill the camera, hit mute the thing.
Right. Kill the camera, hit mute the thing.
There you go. All right, I'm muted now.
There it is.
We can still hear him. Can you hear us?
Great. I got to do the ad read. Stop throwing out expletives. He's gone. We have some really fun stories coming up, not the least of which I do want to comment again for anyone who didn't hear my opinion on Joe Rogan going to Spotify. We also have some Legally Blonde 3 news, which I know Joe is super jacked about.
I am too.
And then I want to talk to you guys a little bit about some films that we've been watching and get your opinion on some stuff and see if you've seen some of the things that I have been watching, because I'm very excited to be a fan of a new director. Before I get to that, of course, though. Ooh,
Joey, do you want to hear my favorite curse word?
Oh,
sure.
Greg.
Goodbye, guys. Love you.
All right. I don't come into PS I Love You and be like, Xbox rocks. Why are you guys talking about PlayStation?
Nick, say the word. I'll make it happen.
You know what?
This is why I think we should just have a server that we use so everyone can pop in and out.
No, that would be nightmare. I would torture you guys.
Specifically why we don't do that. That's why
Kevin would never allow me to do that.
But that being said, you can ask for permission. I'll let it happen.
That's fair enough. I'll bribe Kevin with whatever it takes. Ow! That's the sound that I make when I've nicked my balls shaving, ladies and gentlemen. But thank God for the Lawnmower 3.0 from Manscaped. Thank you, Manscaped, for turning my loud shrieks into multiple peaks. Because most people don't understand this, but manscaping for a body of my topographical sort of, I don't even know what the words I'm looking for, but my body is not exactly a straight line. There's lots of curves, lots of nooks and crannies, and manscaping it's a painful process. But thankfully, the Lawnmower 3.0 is out right now, and it makes it so much better. Men, start taking notes, because Manscaped accidents are finally a thing of the past. No more cuts and nicks with Manscaped Lawnmower 3.0. This is the 3rd generation trimmer featuring advanced skin-safe technology, so you keep your bad boys nice and smooth. I like to call them the twins. And then sometimes I call them Bill and Ted. And then I go, we're going on an excellent adventure right now. Mm-hmm. Anyway, the Manscaped engineering team spent 18 months perfecting the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created, and just released the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0. When I tell you this is premium, I mean premium. The battery will last up to 90 minutes, so you can take a longer shave. One of the coolest features is the LED light, which illuminates grooming areas for closer and more precise trimming. And let's not forget about the charging stand. Show your mower off loud and proud, because this intelligently designed stand is a rapid charging dock powered by USB. So many people have written in stories about how the Lawnmower 3.0 has changed their lives. They even included pics, so I can see the smoothness for myself, and they aren't kidding. I'm still waiting for Kevin's picks to come in. You need to try this out for yourself. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code MORNING at manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you. Here's that one more time. 20% off and free shipping with the code MORNING at manscaped.com. That's 20% off, free shipping, manscaped.com. Use the code MORNING. Your partner, everyone will thank you for this. Next up, we have ExpressVPN. Love this service, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so we all know how ExpressVPN protects your privacy and security online, right? But here's something you might not know. You can also use ExpressVPN to unlock movies and shows that are only available in other countries. We've been watching The Last Dance, and I'm sure, I don't know if you guys have finished it or not, but I want to talk about it because it's awesome. But if you don't have ESPN, it's on Netflix, but not in this country. You can use ExpressVPN to relocate where Netflix thinks you are so that you can watch Last Dance. And I highly recommend you do that if you don't have ESPN, because it's a really, really, really good series. Now that so many of us are stuck at home, it's only a matter of time until you run out of stuff to watch on Netflix. Again, ExpressVPN is there for you so you can binge stuff in other countries. It's so simple to do. Just fire up ExpressVPN app, change the location to like the UK, for instance, refresh Netflix, and boom, that's it. You can watch Doctor Who if you're a Whovian or Whovite or whatever people call. Is it Whovians? Whoville? Okay, cool. See, ExpressVPN hides your IP address and lets you control where you want sites to think you're located. You can choose from almost 100 different countries. So just think about all the Netflix libraries you can go through. Love anime? Use ExpressVPN to access Japanese Netflix and be spirited away. It's a good line right there. But it's not just Netflix. ExpressVPN works with any streaming service like Hulu, BBC iPlayer, YouTube, you name it, it's there. There are hundreds of VPNs out there, but the reason we love ExpressVPN and the reason why we use it to watch shows is that it's ridiculously fast. There's never any buffering or lag, and you can stream in HD no problem. ExpressVPN is also compatible with all your devices, so phones, media consoles, smart TVs, and more. You can watch what you want on a personal device or the big screen wherever you are. If you visit our special link right now at expressvpn.com/morning, you can get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. Support the show, watch what you want, and protect yourself with ExpressVPN at expressvpn.com/morning. Finally, to the big news, ladies and gentlemen. Legally Blonde 3. It's happening.
Woo!
It's happening. Reese Witherspoon, Mindy Kaling coming back 20 years later. We find Elle.
Didn't we already know this, though?
Was Mindy Kaling involved in the first two?
I don't believe her. I think she was like 12 when that movie came out.
KFAF sucks.
He's here.
This is my nightmare. This is my nightmare.
Oh my gosh.
You know, we see lots of nice things about Greg on the show. You think he'd watch it every once in a while on KFAF Wednesdays. Go watch the last one. I made a fun short film. And by short film, I made a comedy skit, but I put the anamorphic bars on the top of it, so it looks like a film. Joe, what's your hype level for Legally Blonde 3?
So we knew that this was happening because Tim and I had talked in depth about, like, do we do a Legally Blonde in review? Is this a thing? But we didn't have any details on it.
We don't
now that Mindy Kaling
review.
Some people would like this, Nick. Have you watched Legally Blonde?
I love it. The first one's great.
So good.
The second one, though.
I don't remember I watched the second one.
Joey, what's it about? Legally Blonde, Red, White, and Blue or something like that.
Oh, it's where she runs for Congress, right?
Yeah. I don't remember. I think I've only seen that one once. I'm really excited. I want to see what happened to Elle Woods after I don't know, whatever happened in Legally Blonde 2. The fact that Mindy Kaling's attached to it is really exciting. I just watched Never Have I Ever, which is her new Netflix show.
Oh, how was that?
It's really good. I loved it.
Okay.
So, and I like kind of just her style of writing, and I think the two of them together will mash up really well. Mindy Kaling, also a writer and producer on The Office, which is another show that I love. So,
never heard of
all in all, these are all things that I really like, and I'm very excited for them to come together. I feel like we won't see this for quite some time with all of this, but I guess they can get through some of the pre-production stuff.
Here's where we left off with Elle Woods in Legally Blonde.
Give it to me, Nick.
Elle Woods, played by the venerable Reese Witherspoon, journeys to Washington, D.C. to have her say about animal rights, but is ignored by every politician she encounters and quickly learns that the White House can be even tougher to navigate than the Ivy League. And then Legally Blonde 3 is about Pilates class and having kids. I don't know. I'm assuming her kids are probably going to be a part of this, right? Because it's like 20 years later.
You know, they should run for president.
Yeah,
Legally
there's
Blonde,
no way that Legally Blonde 3 is about Pilates class.
Legally Blonde 3, a blonde in the office.
Is that what it's called?
No, I just made that up.
Oh, that'd be dope. That's a great name. You should pitch that to Mindy Kaling and get on the writing staff. They'd be like, Kevin, what do you think? You're like, just put her in the White House. Make her wear white. Done.
They do have the original producers back from Legally Blonde 1. So it seems like it's a pretty great team that they're assembling. I did look. They did announce that Legally Blonde 3 was a thing back in June 2018. So I don't know that it's great news that's taken us 2 years to get.
I feel like that's something we haven't talked about then on Screencast. Well, maybe we mentioned it.
Because I bet we talked about it on the morning show back in the day, because she recreated like Legally Blonde scenes on her Instagram.
Well, to be fair, her production company is crushing life. So Reese Witherspoon has focused on a lot. I'm not going to say more important projects, but I think she's been doing more intimate and impersonal projects through her production company Hello Sunshine, because I think she's really good about like getting good rights to books that my wife reads, and then they make the movie, and then my wife goes sees the movie, and then
fires everywhere.
What's that?
Did they do Little Fires Everywhere? It was like the last show she was in.
Let's see. I'm just looking at their website right now. I'm just gonna put Hello Sunshine movies and see what happens.
Little Fires was a Hulu show that came out this year. But.
So they have made, let's see, films they made in 2014. Wow, that can't be right. Is that right? Gone Girl. They produced that.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Maybe.
That's good.
That's interesting.
That's a good movie.
It's founders Reese Witherspoon and Seth Rodsky, and evidently, I mean, chat. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like in 2014 they did Wild.
That movie was terrible.
Gone Girl. Then they did Hot Pursuit, which looks terrible. Lucy in the Sky, which sounds like an important film. Pyros.
That one looked really cool. I was really upset that I didn't watch that one.
Was that the Natalie Portman one?
Yeah, and going to space, but also losing your mind. Is that the one where she ends up going to try to kill?
She stakes out someone's house.
Yeah, and, but it really happened, right? It was based off. So. Yeah, okay. This is a really sad story.
And then it looks like television is where she's been making an even bigger imprint by producing. The company produced Big Little Lies, which I know you guys watched.
So good.
And then the morning show, I think, is another one that they're producing right now, which everyone seems to like. But I don't have Apple Plus. I tried to install it on my wife's phone, and all of my stuff took over my wife's phone. And I was like, oh God, what is she seeing that I'm seeing on my phone?
Like I had sexy pictures.
We'll just leave it at that. Bill and Ted, what's up?
Little Fires they did. They're doing Daisy Jones and the Six, which is another book to movie adaptation. Lots of good stuff.
Reading.
That's such a weird world to me, Kevin. Because when I think of
your books,
reading's cool.
No, reading is lame. Nick, back me up.
Oh, it's only cool if there's mostly pictures in it. Yeah. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Recently, I started getting back into comics, and I've been having this debate as to whether or not I should get an iPad or like a Surface, like a tablet, just to be able to read them. But I'm so cheap right now. But I just started reading, and I don't know why, but I just started reading Frank Miller's RoboCop comic book that he made, which was adapted from his original script that Paul Verhoeven was thinking about making into RoboCop 2, and then he left the project, and then they kind of took some of the ideas and changed it. It is violent. It's
good though.
It would have made. I think it's really good, but it's very dated because it's like 80s, and the style's looks like it's like the style of the animation or the drawing is like Garbage Pail Kid style, so it's kind of weird and kind of throws you out of it at first.
It's random.
It's very strange. Like it's not a style that I've ever been. I don't know who the artist is. I don't know if Frank actually did the ink for it. I can't remember if he draws or not, but it's not great. But the story behind it and the fact that they push that idea of like consumerism and capitalism, like rampant capitalism, they push it to the point where basically like the plot is that Detroit, all the cops are on strike, and they bring in OCP brings in a new team of like mercenaries that tries to figure out how to kill all the cops so they can take over. And the only person standing in their way is like RoboCop, and he's been out in the field for like 72 hours and he's fucking destroyed. It's awesome. It's pretty dope.
It's actually a really good pitch.
It's a cool. It would have been really cool for them to do that, but I read some trivia on it, and they were like, it was just way too violent for the studios to do, because they would have for sure gotten like an NC-17 rating. But they took a lot of that, the concept of like making a second RoboCop and put it in RoboCop 2. It didn't end up being that great of a film, but still watchable. But yeah, anyway, I don't know if you guys have extra Surface books laying around, let me know, because I want to start reading more comic books in the next 2 weeks till I go back to work.
Really quick, the iPad Pro is the best thing to read comic books on. It's phenomenal.
Damn it. Do you have one?
Yeah.
Damn it. Now I need one.
so does huh?
Miller has one too, right?
And Tim.
Miller has the big one, but I want to know if I can get the small one.
No, I'm saying the big one works really good. Surprisingly, the small one, like I don't know what do they call it? Mini? Is it mini? They still call it?
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think they make them anymore.
I think it's Air now or something. They have
that worked out.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
That worked out really good too, just because it was the perfect size for a single page. But the Pro is so good for 2-page spans. Anyway.
See, that's what I'm thinking. All right, well, I gotta look into it. My wife's like, or we could just not spend money right now and during this global pandemic. And I was like, well, Kevin got a dog, so I get to have an iPad. That's what I think. I was like, it could be worse. I could bring home 2 dogs right now and name them Bill and Ted. Just like my balls. One of these days, that joke's gonna work. All right.
That'd be really cool if you had 2 dogs that were Bill and Ted.
And when you go outside, you go, "Are you guys ready to go on an excellent adventure?"
Yeah.
And I go,
it's a lot better with the dogs versus your balls.
My balls.
Yeah, I agree.
That's how it originated, but I threw it in there. Just you got to see where it goes every once in a while on stage. Anyway, let's segue over to what we've been watching, ladies and gentlemen. We asked the patrons last week what you guys have been watching, and John Lastrina wrote back and said, "I've been watching Bosch, and Nick was right. I'm on season 6, and I've really been enjoying it. I've also recently watched An American Tail for the first time in years, and Dom DeLuise and Christopher Plummer are fantastic in it." Is that Feibel's American Tail? Feifel? What's
Feifel?
American Tail?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, there's...
Maybe this isn't...
When I hear American Tail, I definitely think of Feifel.
Yeah, it's Feifel.
Yeah, I do too.
Mouse and Feifel. Mouskowitz. Who voiced him though? Was Dom DeLuise in this movie? Have I seen this movie? This isn't the one where the rats. This isn't the one where the rats like die, like drown in the mud as everything's sinking, right?
What?
No, that's
what movie?
Watership
That's
Down.
Secret of Nim. That's Secret of Nim.
Secret of Nim. There we go.
That was terrifying.
Secret of Nim's scary.
Oh yeah,
Watership Down is also kind of the scary one too.
Yeah,
right?
that shit's fucking terrifying, bro.
Is that the rabbit?
Yeah, where they're like eating each other.
Yeah.
Let's see. And then let's see. KCW wrote in and said, just finished The Last Kingdom. Pretty good historical drama about the Danes and the Saxons. Also watched Dairy Girls. Absolutely hysterical. And
Dairy Girls is so good.
Yeah, that's Irish. It's an Irish show. Yeah. That one looks funny. What have you guys been watching lately that you want to talk about?
I want to talk about The Lodge because Kevin talked a lot about it last week.
What's
so
The
we
Lodge?
watched it last weekend. It is a horror movie.
Is this one with Riley Keough where she gets stuck with the kids? Oh, that's
correct.
The most terrifying aspect of that is getting stuck with someone else's kids.
I know. There are a lot of like weird plot points in this that are just like, okay, Dad, why do you have to leave? You're a writer. Why do you have to leave to go back to your job over Christmas? Like
you're right.
Whole premise of the movie, I didn't understand. But I thought Riley Keough was amazing. She was really good, and the kids were great too. It's the main guy from It and the one that's in Knives Out. He's like in everything right now. I feel like I forget what his name is, but he was really good. Little girl was good. The dad, who's not in it very much, is fine.
Who was the mom?
Alicia Silverstone.
That's right. When we saw that, Paula was like, "Oh, is that looks like this person?" I was like, "No, it looks like a much older version of her," and it was her.
Turns out
it's just been a long time.
Yeah, I'm just on Riley Keough. I'm a huge fan of hers, and it's so great. Like she's a great actor, has great screen presence, and it's.
What else has she been in?
She was the first time I saw her was in the Showtime, or maybe it was Encore Showtime. I think the Girlfriend Experience, which was when they brought it to that, and it was a fucking twisted, really crazy like first season. And then I don't know why, but for some reason, I guess they just were like, "We're done with your storyline. We're going to pick it up with 2 other people." Yeah. And so she didn't do it ever again. But that first season is like a really like interesting and dark look into the tale of like being a high class call girl, and like she starts because she has to pay her bills, and she's also a law student working at a law firm. But then slowly throughout the season, she starts just admitting to herself that she just likes being an escort way more than being a lawyer. And then those the 2 worlds collide. It just kind of tears everything apart. But like good. It's pretty crazy. And then it kind of, obviously she has like high class clients that are these guys that are just like run the spectrum from just normal guys looking for some company to like psychopaths and shit like that. It's fucking intense. It's an intense show. The second season I never watched because when she left I was like, I don't think it's gonna have the same vibe, so I'm done. But I remember seeing her in that, and then I remember seeing her in another film that I know Kevin liked, which was Under the Silver Lake. I think she did a good job.
Yeah, she was great in that.
Which, if you haven't watched that, was one of my favorite films from, I want to say 2018 or 2019 when it came out.
Right.
It's really cool.
Is that the one that has Andrew Garfield in it too?
Yeah, it's a very weird indie film that's sort of like a weird noir detective movie set in LA, modern time, and it's weird as shit. But it's on Amazon Prime right now for free because I believe it's an Amazon Studios movie. You guys should watch that. The Lodge. Okay, what else you guys got for me?
Wait, the Lodge though, man, it's a trippy movie.
I'm
happy to hear you like it. No, it's
on Hulu.
Hulu, right?
Hulu. Okay.
Yeah.
Hulu's doing a great job with movies right now.
Yeah, speaking of Hulu, you guys, Kevin, you were talking about something earlier that my wife has been watching, and I sat down to watch like an episode of it, thinking, "Oh, here's going to be a fun one that I make fun of." Because, okay, sorry, bear with me, walk with me on this one. Here's the tangent: my wife loves all of those period British dramas, and she watches them when I'm asleep because she knows that if I catch wind of her watching them in the other room, I'll go like this: "The counts and the Countess of Duchessness are here. The Count of Marmalade and the Lady Jam are in the foyer."
Joey, you know the messed up part, the worst part of that is that like they're always talking very quickly in British accents in those shows because I watch a lot of them too, and like that would make it so difficult, especially because I know your speaker system. You know, you don't got great audio. None of us do.
We have a TV.
Yeah.
So my wife watches. She's been watching I forget what show she just finished. She really liked, but then she went on to watch this show called The Great, which is based on Catherine the Great. But I was like, oh,
but
God,
it's
I'm not
comedy.
Gonna watch this. But it's a comedy, and it's a really weird, very irreverent, like, self-aware period show starring Elle Fanning and Nicholas Hoult. And of the little bit that I watched, I was like, I'm blown away by how fucking cool and fun this show is.
So there's 10 episodes. Right now, we just finished the 9th episode. We've been watching it all week. I was planning to watch other stuff, but Paula was like, hey, remember that trailer we saw for the show, The Great? Well, it's out. Do you want to watch it now? And I was like, let's go check out the first episode and see what we think. Oh, man. It is phenomenal. The comedy's so good. The acting's amazing. Elle Fanning's just 10 out of 10 actor.
She's really good.
Yeah.
And I've never really thought about Elle Fanning. I've seen her and stuff. I'm like, she's fine. But this is the first thing I've seen her, and I'm like, wow, you have really come into your own as an actor.
Yeah.
Which sounds silly because she's been acting for the last like 20 years. But like watching this, I'm like, wow, you are nailing this character. You have great screen presence, and I'm really interested and invested in your story. And it's like Joe, it's with like the king's court where she has to go and like fill all the political stuff, and then Nicholas Holt's just a psychopath.
He's so perfect for the role. When in the first episode, I was like, I'm not a big fan of him. He's often
Did you
too
not
much.
like Warm Bodies?
No,
I like Warm Bodies.
No,
I like
so interesting.
Yeah,
I
you
like
Warm Bodies.
I wasn't a fan of Warm Bodies.
Oh, you didn't like it? Okay,
No.
I thought it was that was one where he was a zombie and then he starts coming back.
Romeo and Juliet with zombies.
Hot.
Yeah.
Hot.
But like, as the show progresses, you like fall in love with how much you hate this character. Where you're just like, oh my God, he is the worst person ever. And like their mentality is so messed up, but it's so funny. It's so funny how little they care about their like the serfs, the people that like they get to treat like crap.
It's funny.
And like how it also they do things. I want to say like episode 6 or 7, something happens and you're like, oh my God, this show is serious. Like it's not just funny. Like now they're taking on serious thing. Oh, character's gone. The one character that we've seen for a long time has passed away, and like that's not a joke. It just gets very real all of a sudden. Yeah, it's cool.
I highly recommend it. From what I saw, it looked really fun. If you're a fan of that period piece stuff, it's the same people that did Emma, right? Or is it the same people that did The Favorite? No, maybe I'm wrong.
No, it's the same people that did The Favorite.
Yeah. Anyway, go check it out.
Did The Favorite.
Favorite. Okay.
Yeah, Paula just came over their phone, like unrelated to you guys, was writing that on her phone to show me. That's really weird timing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Cool. One of the things that I watched that I wanted to talk to you guys about that I was actually surprised at how much I liked it was Underwater, which is the Kristen Stewart sci-fi horror movie. Sorry, it's Kristen Stewart, TJ Miller, and a bunch of other actors that I don't really remember that well. One of it, Vincent Cassel, plays the captain of this underwater rig. And the movie, if you saw the trailer, it's Kristen Stewart with a shaved head, dyed blonde.
Oh my God.
And it starts with her. And then she's like looking at the water on her hand. She's like, oh God, something's happening. And then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. That is the first 30 seconds of the movie. And from that point on, it becomes a very interesting, very claustrophobic survival horror movie about these people who are the last survivors of this giant underwater drilling rig who have to figure out how the fuck to get to another rig that's like 2 miles away on the ocean floor to get to the sub to get to the escape pods that'll allow them to get back to the surface. Meanwhile, all sorts of crazy sci-fi shit is happening underneath them. There it is. What is that? There it is.
Thomas keeps jumping on my desk, and this is like his third attempt, so I'm just gonna let him explore my desk.
He likes underwater. He's a big Kristen Stewart fan.
It's so funny. Joey, do you remember there was 2 movies that I kept pushing for us to go see? It was Dark Water.
Yeah, which is what's his name?
That's the alligator one, right?
No.
It's
the DuPont poisoning the water with Mark Ruffalo.
Oh, right.
Mark Ruffalo, yeah. And then this one.
There
was a reason that we couldn't go see this one, though.
I think that we like planned it, and then day of we were just like,
I don't know, because I remember wanting to see this because it looked kind of fun, but
if you like that classic, I mean, it is like classic beat for beat survival horror. Mm-hmm. Something happens, they got to get away from it, and then just an ever escalating string of challenges get in front of them as people get picked off one by one. TJ Miller's in it, and he always offers just the right amount of like humor for the film. And I think just for no other reason, the production design of it and the way it's directed is really, really good. And I want to give a shout out to the director because I liked this movie so much. I watched his other film called The Signal, which is on Netflix right now, which is another fun sci-fi sort of like weird indie sci-fi film. That I really, really liked about some kids from like MIT who are like super geniuses who are trying to track down a hacker. And when they track him down, they get to that place and then all sorts of weird shit starts happening to them when they wake up in like this weird government facility and all shit happens. Look at that little puffy cat. Let me see. I'm going to give a shout out to
He's never done this before.
He likes me. He likes the sound of my voice.
He can't hear. I'm wearing headphones.
That's how I have excellent hearing and smell. William Eubank is the name of the director, and I think he did a really, really good job with this. If you don't want to pay for Underwater and you have Netflix, check out The Signal. It's really
Jesus Christ,
kind of crazy and weird.
I'm sorry, guys.
That's all good. All gooch in the booch. Aside from that, everyone.
Real quick, how is Kristen Stewart in Underwater? Yeah,
she's Kristen Stewart. Yeah.
Which I
like her. Yeah,
she is very like. I don't want.
Wait, real quick.
Not the best part of this movie. Let's just put it that way.
One of the reasons why I wanted to watch The Lodge is because I thought she was in it. I was like, oh yeah, this is a movie with Kristen Stewart because that girl kind of looks like her.
They look alike, but Riley Keough I think she has much better range than Kristen Stewart. The thing about Kristen Stewart is she is just kind of like a blank canvas. And that if you surround her with a cool idea and actors that can carry the scenes, then she's fine. And in this movie, that's what you get. You get really cool visuals. The production design of the suits that they wear is so fucking cool and anime. And they obviously make a lot of callbacks to like anime in the movie. So you can tell that the director was like, we want this to look like inspired by Japanese anime. And she's fine. She's serviceable. I don't want to speak badly of her, but I think that you could have put in, for some reason, she's still in Hollywood It Girl and she opens movies, but I think you could have put someone a little bit better in that role and the movie wouldn't have suffered. Let's put it that way. But still very, very watchable. And she definitely has a good physical presence on screen. It's just when they get to some of these moments where they start talking about why she has decided to work on this underwater ridge or thing and like basically not have a real life. You're like, all right, let's get to where the fucking things attack. What's going on? Let's just it's fine. Get back. Get to the point where they have to crawl through an underwater tunnel that's like the size of a fucking nickel, and then Nick has a claustrophobic panic attack while he's watching it. It's fun.
And then my next question, The Signal, like, are the actors, none of them are known actors, right?
No. Well, Olivia Cook is
one, right?
So Olivia Cook is she plays the lead female actress in it. She's like,
hold on.
And
sorry.
she is in, what's up?
Thomas turned the screen off. Well, I guess I'm not going to touch because then it won't. Oh, wait, it's back. Sorry.
Okay. That's okay. So Olivia Cook, I love her. She was in a movie called Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl, which is really, really good. And then she was in Thoroughbreds, I believe, as well.
Oh, it's a great movie.
Alongside, what's her butt? Big-eyed girl from...
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Taylor-Joy, yeah. So,
damn it.
There it is. So, yeah, I mean, both those movies, great for me. That was a fun little Saturday night with Dee, and I watched Underwater and then watched The Signal afterward, and I ate pizza while she was healthy. So that was fun. Other than that, obviously, finished The Last Dance. Cannot recommend that enough.
So good.
Recently started watching on, I forget which platform, Commando, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is just the most 80s of action films you'll ever watch. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It's so fucking 80s. It's just full of catchphrases and muscles and just great stuff. Lots of violent action. It's great. Anything else for you guys?
I started watching Upload on Amazon Prime.
Oh, that's the Stephen Amell show or Robbie Amell show.
Yeah, Robbie Amell. I'm only like 3 episodes in. I really like it. It's a interesting thing. I think it's kind of like Black Mirror-y, but like way more grounded and less like dark.
It seems like it's a comedy, like a lighthearted comedy, right?
Yeah. It kind of has like, it's like if the like tech and like kind of mystery aspect of Black Mirror met kind of like The Good Place, but not writing not as great as The Good Place, but kind of that vibe.
Wait. I'm sorry. You said writing not as good as The Good Place?
Yeah, because I think The Good Place is excellent. It has the same vibe, but it's not like.
Whoa.
It's so good.
I think The Good Place can be enjoyable at times, but I think that like the writing is trash. The characters are terrible. Anyways, go ahead.
Well, Kristen Stewart lost me when she married Dak Shepard. Just saying.
That's Kristen Bell.
Whatever. Kristen Bell. Isn't she in The Good Place?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, it's a interesting kind of premise. It's like this whole like you upload your consciousness to the cloud, and Robbie Amell dies in a car accident, like in the very beginning of the first episode, and he gets uploaded like really early, and it's like we have to help you with your transition. But then there's this mystery aspect of, did he actually die in this car accident? Was it an accident because he was developing this upload software that was like open source and you didn't have to pay for it, versus like it's now this multi-billion-dollar industry that's been privatized and stuff like that. So I think it's kind of fun. There's a lot of like weird, quirky characters. I'm interested to see how it goes. I don't know how many episodes it is. I hope it's only 8, but if it's 10 or 12, it might kind of lose me. But I actually really like it so far.
Is this a week-to-week thing?
No, they're all up now.
So you're just not aware because you haven't seen how many episodes are on there? Or?
Yeah, I haven't looked. I just started it. I don't know. I don't look at that before I start something. Yes, Nicholas Scarpino.
Does Robbie Amell take his shirt off like he does in The Babysitter?
I don't. I think he has a couple scenes, but it's not prominent.
I'll watch it.
I like him. He's quirky, but I like him. Yes,
Kevin kind of funny.
Who is Robbie Amell?
Stephen Amell's brother. Yeah.
Cousin. He's in The Babysitter. He's in some CW show.
I'm gonna tell you this right now. Robbie Amell is in one of my all-time favorite fucking like young adult comedies of all time called The Duff. If you haven't seen The Duff, go watch
with Mae Whitman, who I also adore.
Yeah, it's actually a very fun like 80s style coming of age young adult movie, like a John Hughes-esque movie, and I think it's hilarious. In the chat, people, DJ Kento says Crawl is the alligator one. Thank you, appreciate that. And then
Cool Greg really wanted to watch Crawl, and I think Joey also was in.
I was listen, when Cool Greg wants to actually go watch something, I'm not gonna say no.
That's
Cool
true.
Greg never wants to go watch anything.
Very true.
I think he watched it without us.
Joey, I do recognize Robbie Amell now that I've Googled him.
Yeah,
you know Robbie. Everyone knows Robbie Amell. He's like everyone's best friend. Next week, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to throw out this topic for you. What do you think of the Snyder Cut news? Is it a good idea? Is it setting a terrible precedent? Are you excited to watch this? Do you think they should have spent more money on this? Or would $5 and a packet of Skittles suffice to bring back Zack Snyder's career that he pretty much lost after he left that movie? Let us know. Go over to patreon.com/kindafunny, back us at the bronze tier, and you can submit your response to that question over there. And as always, if we've talked about anything here on this podcast, you're watching on YouTube and you want to leave a comment, please do so in the comments below and hit that subscribe button and that little bell notification if that's still a thing. As a reminder for everyone watching live here on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames, we do this show every week around about 11:15, sometimes Thursdays, sometimes Fridays, depending on when Tim wants us to do the show. Remember, if you have Amazon Prime, hey, now's a great chance to go and link that to your Twitch Prime and give us that free subscription. It's free for you, and it gives us $5 out of Jeff Bezos' money, and he is now worth $700 gajillion even after his divorce. He's the only person I've ever known that got divorced and is now worth more. We'll be we're gonna take a break right now. We'll come right back and read the subscribers if you're watching live. If not, we'll see you guys at the movies next week.
Wait, real quick, Joey. Season 1 of Upload is 10 episodes.
That's long.
Is it? I felt like that's what you were saying, that like if it was 14, you'd be upset.
I want a solid 8-episode run for everything.
So you're gonna stop? Because now I kind of
I'm gonna keep watching it. I've already watched 3 of them.
Okay. All right. All right. Bye.
Bye, everyone.